Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm feeling a little sick and I thought what better topic to talk about than COVID. So today we're going to be talking about that global pandemic that's been going on and everybody knows about it. So I don't need to give any background information, but I wanted to kind of come here and give the side of what's happening in Kenya because lots of people, and I mean most people back home will ask me, how's COVID in Kenya? So today Dan is behind the camera. He's going to be interviewing me, so to speak, about this topic. So let's begin. Dan, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Hello everyone. So today is the interview as Meg told you guys. So Meg, how can you tell us about the COVID in Kenya?
Yeah, in general, I would say there are mixed feelings. There are people that are very afraid of COVID, and then there's people who think it's all a government hoax. So kind of like the US, we have both ends of the spectrum. But I will say, because of, I don't know, governmental, political stuff, Kenya rules are followed more. So you won't find as much blatant disregard for COVID rules.
Okay, what about the regulations here in Kenya?
Yeah, they've been strict. So COVID hit Kenya later than it did for much of the world. Like Africa as the continent, it's like COVID kind of missed it for a bit and then it came back. So when COVID finally came to Kenya, it was like they were prepared and they had seen what had happened in different countries. So right off the bat, there was an 8 p.m. curfew from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. No, wait, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, right?
What?
The first curfew in Kenya.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was really intense. It was really hard for people to get to work, come home from work, get food before the shops closed. So it was a really hard time, and there were some police brutality, I'm not going to lie, in Nairobi, where the police were saying, okay, we see someone after curfew, that's a reason to beat them up, and obviously that is not a reason. And I know at least one boy died from like a stray bullet. So I will say it was much more heavy-handed, but then on the same hand, it reduced a lot of cases, I would say. So regulations as we speak, currently there's a 10 p.m. curfew until 4 a.m., which isn't so bad, I would say, than the 8 p.m. And in the past, there's been lockdowns where the diseased counties, you weren't able to leave those counties. So for a while, it was Nairobi and the surrounding counties that were under lockdown. So even though where we live is right by the border to the next county, we couldn't cross. It's like 5 minutes away. So you would have to have a special permit to go to a different county. So that's intense. Then there's, of course, the wearing the mask mandate, washing your hands before you enter any public building. In the public transportation, there has to be an empty seat between people. So again, these are the regulations, I will say, on transportation. That's not always followed. And social distance is really hard in a country where people don't own their own cars for the most part. So it's very difficult to keep a social distance when standing in line for things. And
yeah, I think to add on that,
yeah,
in a matatu it's very hard to keep safe distance because you guys are using the same door, you are getting out with the same door.
Yeah.
Then sometimes the matatu operators, they are greedy somehow, they want to make more money, so they will
stuff people in
so that, yeah, just to make profit.
Yeah, and so you'll see like a policeman is up the road, and they'll tell, okay, you and you, get out of the car.
Yeah.
So that when they pass that checkpoint, it's like, no one's seen, we're fine, we're good. Yeah, I will say one of the harder regulations for me to follow is that masks are required even if you're not like within 6 feet of someone. So like even if you just are walking to the supermarket and there's like no one around, you're still supposed to have it technically. And that's hard because we walk a lot of places, so it's like, oh, I have to wear this mask as we walk 45 minutes to the next place we want to go. Technically you're supposed to. And I will say there's bribes. People will bribe the police to say, you didn't see anything, which is kind of the same with traffic violations. So, but rules are in place, and I would say most people do follow those rules. There isn't as much bending of the rules as there is that I saw back home.
Okay, the other question that I have, do you know anyone who had COVID here in Kenya?
Not really. I know someone who knows someone who had it, which is very different than in the U.S., where I had family members, I had friends who had COVID, I had people I worked with. So the rate of an infection is not as high, or at least the rate of infection that we know of is not as high. So there isn't this idea of when people come to each other's house, it's like masks are off. Okay, we're not in public, we don't have to do this anymore. So masks are very like a public thing, because when you're with friends, you're with friends. And there's this idea here that if we're friends, then you're not going to have COVID, you're not going to give me COVID, right?
Yeah, I think the other thing is that people fear to be caught by policemen
more than the
more
disease
than
itself.
Yeah, disease itself,
Yeah.
because when the police will catch you without a mask, then they have to, either you have to bribe them or you are taken to custody where you have to pay like a fine of 10,000, yeah,
Which is $100, which is a lot for a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the other thing I would like to ask, how do you get tested here in Kenya?
It is not easy, folks. In the U.S., before I came here, I had to get a COVID test to fly, and yeah, you just like drove up in your car, you rolled down your window, they swiped you, and you left. Super easy, and it was free. Here in Kenya, not the case. First of all, finding COVID tests is difficult, like where they're even being sold. There's not very much information out there, and when you do get information, you don't know how reliable it is. And then, like, I have to get a COVID test to go back home soon, and I've heard that's around $70 for them to jab your brain. So,
wow,
it is a lot, yeah. And you would think that like COVID tests should be provided by the government, and so there's people here questioning, like, Kenya got a bailout, okay, for COVID, not a bailout, but like what do you call it, like a loan from the World Health Organization, I think that's who they got it from, and then it's like all the COVID tests you have to pay for, and you're like, where did that money go? So that's COVID testing in Kenya. Yeah.
The other thing is about the vaccine.
Vaccines are also missing in action. I know a couple of my professors have gotten it, but besides that, I don't know where you can get it. If I could get one as a non-citizen.
No, because even I myself, I don't know where to get it.
Dan is a citizen, and he doesn't know.
I don't have even a lot of information about it.
So it's like, we don't know if there's no vaccine, or if it's only for certain people, or you have to pay. Like, that information is seriously missing. But I will say,
And also there is a shortage of vaccine because some people who are vaccinated first, the essential workers, most of them, they cannot get the second shot because there is shortage.
Okay, Dan knows more on this topic than me. Yeah. So, okay, in the U.S. it's very broken down of like who gets it when, and the vaccines came here much later, so it was kind of like, that part was not organized, I will say. And I will say, a lot of people, when I ask them, because I ask pretty much everyone, I'm like, hey, have you gotten the vaccine? Do you know where to get the vaccine? And most people say, I'm not getting it even if I could.
Yeah, the other
There's
question.
suspicion.
Okay, sorry. I have another question, and the last question.
Yes.
What do Kenyans think about COVID?
Oh, great. That leads from my last thing. Yeah, some people do think it didn't really ever come to Kenya because the infection rate was not as widespread. I would say it was mainly for, I don't want to say like the upper class, because that's not true.
Yeah, that's what we thought at the beginning.
That was the perception, because it actually in the beginning, I think that was more true because it was people that were traveling internationally that brought it from other countries. So I will say it probably came to this country through international travelers, but that's not the case. But there is this perception that like, oh, I can't get it because I don't live in Nairobi, or I can't get it because I am not in this one particular neighborhood. That's that. But I do know some people that they like double mask it, or they wear a mask, they get to someone's house, they throw it away, they take another mask. So you have both ends of the spectrum. But overall, I would say because of the history between the Kenyan government and the Kenyan people, there's a lot of distrust. So lots of people, even they have bachelor's degrees or whatever, they're still like, I don't trust that the vaccine is actually going to help me. And so there are So that is the perceptions of Kenyans. But I do have some statistics for you that I looked up just before I started to record this. So there have been 181,000 reported cases of COVID in Kenya and 3,500 deaths, with a death rate of 1.93%, which the death rate in US is 1.7. So the death rate isn't that much different. But I will say infection rates, you don't really know because COVID tests are expensive. So with all of that, obviously this is constantly changing, but this is our take here in COVID in Kenya. So thank you so much for listening, and please subscribe to our channel for more content.
Bye.
Bye.